the meeting. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Ed Warner Jr.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Scott Corlett.
Here.
Trustee William Pell.
Present.
Trustee Bruce Stafford.
Here.
Trustee Ann Walker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Brandy.
Welcome.
All right, there's a couple discussion items that we have on. No start, permit notice 33 Sea Club Lane, Remsenburg. David Radigan, I see the gentleman is not here, so let's hold it over to the end of the meeting. If he comes in, we could discuss it. One other thing, Billy, I think you're kind of familiar with this, is the lease agreement renewal with the Southampton Colonial Society. We were the only person on the lease initially at the Conscience Point launching ramp rock area. Now that the oyster program is running there with Mark Matthews, they have a lease also. Martha, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but we've had a lease on this property for
Hundreds of years,
for 100.
like from day one.
Yeah, for probably 100 years, and we keep.
With a long-term lease, then it had to be renewed, then it, after
Sure,
the
I think this
long-term
last
lease.
one was for 25 years.
Yeah.
So right now, we do not have a lease on the property. I did talk to Howard and
Ann.
Ann Reisman, yes, the other day about it. I believe it's something their attorneys have to draft up because there are two people using
The property.
the
Correct.
property.
And they are the lessor, so normally they would be the party
Yes.
that prepares the lease agreement.
I did tell her that we have a new attorney, you, Martha, to contact you and have the correspondence come from you, with you as far as the lease agreement, so you can keep us updated.
All right.
But right now, there's no movement. I don't think they're.
I haven't received any.
Just on the lease, we have to make sure on the where we, excuse me, what we're responsible for and what the oyster hatchery is responsible for.
Sure, I
Yes.
mean, I think it would probably be a good idea to get a copy of the other lease. And we'll
It
have
is
to-
in the office.
In the office, but the other lease does not, it's not, we released the whole thing.
Yeah, it was specifically the Southampton Town trustees. There's no
See, now they're-
Conscience Point or
Like,
something.
they're using the bulkhead, are we responsible for the bulkhead, or they're partly responsible using for the bulkhead, and the same thing with the parking lot, with liability insurance?
I think what would be helpful is once we get a draft from
I'll sit down with
the
you.
Historical Society, not just sit down, but maybe walk the property together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll look at the actual physical improvements and anything that might be overlapping with the shellfish hatchery to make sure that,
Yes, so it's fair for everyone.
Because the
Clear.
bulkhead pier that's there was put in for commercial use as far as contractors and fishermen. The trustees and the town did pay for and has maintained it, but the Conscious Point Oyster Company has raised the bulkhead up 18 inches and backfilled it, so now they have some, permits in their name that were specifically in the trustees and the town's name, and we've put in and maintained the launching ramp, and we do maintain the area where the parking is, as far as grading it, and now the Conscience Point Oyster Company, they backfilled the bulkhead, so they do some grading, so it's a little more complicated than it was originally,
all right.
so, but we'll take a look at it.
So there might even be a need for some sort of memorandum of understanding then between, all three parties.
Yes, I think something like that would be best going forward. Okay, thank you, Martha.
You're welcome.
One other thing, intergovernment agreement between Stony Brook, Southampton University, installation and operation of environmental observatories, sensors in Mecox Bay. Basically, the college is asking to place these sensors in for water quality monitoring, something that our environmental analyst, James Duryea, has done for the last couple of years, and prior to him, our maintenance department. So it's something that we're going to be basically handing off to the college, them doing the monitoring James, do you have any more information?
This is the sensors that are gonna be in the MECOX management plan.
Yes.
So this is all just the agreement that we have. I'm still gonna continue to do the other sites because there's only one or two sites that they're gonna be putting in for this agreement. And I think the more the better for the
Well, I agree,
trustees.
because we do have a history of you doing these sites, and Mariah, your predecessor, and the Remaintenance had done the sites previously. I think it's been going on for about, I believe, about 7 years now?
Yeah.
Or about that. So we have a good baseline, so
More than that, I think.
But these sites are gonna be set up online so the public can look at it live.
Yep.
But we're still going to be doing the same amount of work, or are you going to be doing less work? Because the management plan in this agreement was supposed to lessen your work, right? So you're going to cut your time down, you don't have to do all the locations, just a few?
Well, it's up to you guys, whether you
I
want.
mean, that's what it was really supposed to be, the real-time monitoring was supposed
I
to
think
lessen.
I think for a while, he should continue what he's doing to make it back.
Yeah, but at some
So-
point, it was supposed to, this was supposed to, the management plan and these sensors was supposed to alleviate you so that you could work on
And
it.
I think you guys can look into maybe getting more than just one or two sites that they're putting in.
I think the continuity is really important, that the baseline has been established. I think it's important for now for that to be continued.
Well, it's, the way we do it, it's, we monitor Flying Point, Mohawk, and Bay Lane, basically the southwest corner, the northwest corner, and the northeast corner. And two of the sensors are or two of the sites are in the northerly part of the bay, where when the salinity goes low, it goes very low, and it stays very low for a long period of time. So as a threshold, if we're going to use salinity to open the cut, those sites are very important. Because, I mean, you can have, an overwash that could give you a 15 at the cut, and then Mohawk could still be 5 or 6.
Right.
Which is a big difference in it, and that, especially with a lot of, shellfish in there.
So who selected these locations that they're using?
I think the college did their,
So,
Well, we went out, I believe there's two sensors. There's one that's gonna be up by the northern side of the Flying Point bulkhead, and then there's gonna be one actually on a mooring closer to like Bay Lane area.
right off of Rose Hill Road. Like
Essentially in that area, yes.
Northern middle of the bay,
Right.
east and west.
But that one's seasonal.
Yeah.
That one's, the
Right.
floating one is only going to be in the summer months. It's
Right.
coming out, long season. So
Yeah.
I think continuing James's
It's very important.
sites is really important.
it is important,
At
it's
least
the
for-
only,
At least for this year, to maintain
Yeah, we could
the
relook at it
integrity of
next year.
what
Well-
we've done, I think it's really important.
I mean, it is now, obviously, because we haven't adopted a management plan yet, so you're going to have to, but, I thought that as we were adopting the plan and, forming our relationship, with this program, it was supposed to be situated so that the board can get real-time data, and it would free up the environmental analyst. That was the whole part of the
Well,
plan.
I think if you would have to add more sensors then.
All
I
right,
think
so,
that would be what would be necessary.
right, we don't have a plan adopted yet, we're still going through this, so I mean, we could,
And to place
In my
sensors,
opinion, I think you would
Yeah.
need more sensors.
Yeah, well, it would have to be maintaining consistent information to keep those baselines running, but the thought process, to my understanding, was that they were going to have this real-time, data that would provide that, which would free up the manpower so that we could get, be more productive, as opposed to not, twice, 3 times doing things, But we're not there yet, because we haven't adopted a management plan. Now, this contract, if we sign anything, it's not going to bind us beyond what the funding is coming from the Community Preservation Fund?
Well, so this contract, one of the things with this contract is that it appears to be for 2 years, but it's not very specific. And for the most part, this is a proposal.
Okay.
And, there are a couple things that I would want to highlight to the trustees, because I've worked with Tom Wilson from SOMAS to sort of, I had some questions about things. And one of my first questions was, who owns the equipment that the trustees are paying for? And the way that SOMAS had viewed it would happen, and these are now contained in the notes in the last page section, SOMAS plans on retaining the ownership of the equipment. Their justification for that was that they have the insurance to cover catastrophic loss, et cetera. I also had some questions about their monthly fees, especially since one of the sensors will be not operational during winter months. So, they said they wanted to keep it as sort of a monthly cost, even during those, to spread out the cost overall. I updated the contract with them so that the price is guaranteed for 2 years from when we start, because before they had it as a June date, and it ended up only guaranteeing the price for about a year and a half. So now it moves forward to cover the 2 years of this agreement. I mean, for the most part, this appears to be a 2-year agreement. It doesn't expressly say 2 years. In talking with them, they said that, the town of Huntington just adopted, they had a resolution adopting or accepting this proposal, and that was all they did in terms of a contract. I would feel more comfortable actually having a contract that incorporates this proposal as a Schedule A, but spells things out a little bit more concretely, like that this is a contract for a term of 2 years. It's definitely before the board right now to determine, are you okay with the idea of paying for all this equipment and not having any ownership in it? I haven't checked with the town's insurance person to see if our insurance would cover these sorts of things. So, I don't know, but I thought it was something the board should discuss.
And also, another thing too, you want to look at, if one of these units goes down, okay, do they have a replacement immediately, or do they have a backup system?
Well, so they, that's something, it's a very good question that's not covered in the contract.
Yeah. that's
They do say that,
'Cause,
they expect the units to last between 5 and 10 years.
Nothing lasts 5 or 10 years underwater.
I totally agree. I mean, that's why they have a range of 5 to 10
It's
years.
maintenance on them too, I mean.
So I would like a good definition between regular maintenance, catastrophic loss. Or when they say capital equipment replacement, I'd like to see some definitions for what triggers that, especially if it's within the first 2 years of the program. I kind of feel like,
Could be prorated, but, you want to find out if it breaks, because we'll lose our baseline,
right?
if one goes out. And and I should have a time period when it's going to be, if it's out today, on Tuesday, it's going to be, another one be put in place by Friday.
All right, so you'd like to
or
see in the
Thursday,
contract
'cause
perhaps.
James can, James, he's reliable. If not, he gets his helper to do it for him.
No, but if for any reason a unit goes down and needs to be
That's okay.
repaired,
What is the downtime? I mean, is it?
what is the downtime,
is
especially if
it
we're
a
paying
day, a
this
month,
monthly
or?
fee
Well,
of $2,000
we're
a
still-
month, right?
You don't want to lose the daytime, the baseline.
All right,
You don't want to lose it, and we're still going to be maintaining James to maintain our baseline.
Yeah.
So this is
It's double
like,
pay.
All right, so
It's like
if
double
there
work.
is, all right,
the way
well,
this is right now.
but if if a unit
For the
breaks,
first year.
we want some sort of guarantee from them that they'll have a replacement backup unit ready to deploy within
And then the.
X amount of
Yeah,
time.
the one floating unit, maybe that should be put in the 3 months or 4 months where the ice is there,
Mm-hmm.
put in an area where we still can use it.
You have to be careful deploying these units. They have to be in a place where they're readily viewable by our bay constables
Yeah.
or maintenance.
So they don't disappear.
My fear is you're going to put one of these units, say if you put it at Mohawk and someone walked down there and just decided to tamper with it or take it home with them. I mean,
You don't know what it is.
Well-
things have been known to disappear, so insurance on these apparatuses are very important.
Yes, and so,
Well, Mark, you might need to have a sign, if it's by Mohawk,
Yes.
have a sign what it is. Do not touch.
well, we've got to get these things placed in an area where we're going to be able to consistently rely upon the data to be utilized for decision-making.
They can't put these in a cage?
to prevent what, vandalism?
Well, if you're gonna mark it, you're bringing the attention to where the unit is exactly. And I can understand that, let's say, for the fishermen or whoever's gonna be out there, duck hunters or whatever. But if you got a cage around it, that would be simple to remove, and they can't get to the unit. But on the other side, if they're gonna take the unit out, then that charge, that rental, lease, whatever, should cease. To us, it shouldn't continue.
It's 3 months that it's out.
Okay, well, what are they charging per unit for rental?
Well, it's not a rental, there's the data fee, and
Right.
the monitoring fee.
We don't have to make a decision on this today, right? We can read through it.
But we're going to have to, I mean, no, it's just a proposal, it's not a contract, but these are all excellent questions and concerns, especially, we have a limited amount of funds and, and we have a limited amount of staff, and you want to be as accurate and as efficient as possible, which is why we were moving in this direction, and
One of the units will cost $510 per month, that's just their,
This is not the first unit like this that Mr. Wilson's doing.
there are two units. The operation of the first observatory is supposed to cost $6,100 for the year, which breaks down to $510 a month.
But,
And then the operation of the other unit is $1,800 per month.
but what I meant was, he has other ones
Right.
up the island. So he has other buoys like this, so we can
Back up?
ask him, that are in the water and operating and have been operating for some time. So some of these questions, he knows the answers to.
Right.
Because there's a live feed for one, I can't remember where it is, it's in Brookhaven someplace.
There's a
Now-
lot of feed in the Riverhead,
So-
Peconic Bay area, I know that for a fact.
But I don't-
2 years ago they started that.
Right, but any of these other places, I would venture to say, are not engaging in the same type of activity that we rely upon our data, right? We're opening and closing
Yeah,
a bay, right? We're like one of the few places this occurs. So we need consistency and accuracy with these baselines, so we gotta make sure we get this right.
yes.
And how much water do they need to operate?
That's another question.
That's a technical question that.
Probably.
is-
Well,
Mr.
you
Wilson
figure
knows the
if it's
answer
in
to.
one area one day, and we open that baby up, and the next day it's on the bottom, evidently that's not gonna be the right area for that machine.
Well, the
Well,
area-
for the mooring one, they're looking for the deepest part of Mecox, and we discussed.
Which
this
is
with
about
Ed.
6 feet at low bay.
Right, so that's gonna be in the area of the deepest area, because that's what they need.
due south of
The other one
Wilson
is
Road.
for depth, so it's gonna be
Right where they want
an
to.
area that,
Probably.
Is
we
that
can
the one
do.
they're thinking about affixing to the bulkhead?
Yes, over on Fine Point Road.
Yes.
So it's taken into
High flight.
consideration. I'm not sure how much feet it needs for it, but that's something they can answer. But they want the deepest part of the bay where the mooring is.
Are there any other questions that the board has for me with respect to the drafting of the contract and this agreement?
Well, I mean,
Just those couple, that's the only thing I have.
Yeah, I think we're all, pretty much the same questions.
I think you need to, we also, need to make sure, like you're saying, it appears to be a 2-year agreement on the pricing, but the contract, it's like we have funding guaranteed to a certain
2
period
years.
of time, right? So we want to make sure that we're not, everything kind of syncs up the right way.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so renewal issues.
As far as questions for Mr. Wilson, one would be the cage or some protective mechanism
Right,
around
vandalism
it.
deterrent.
What else? Is there anything
Would it be
else?
helpful to have him come in and discuss with you guys these concerns, or
I think so.
would that be?
I think the other one that I heard was,
You can ask him ahead of time, that way when he comes in, he has the answers.
Yeah.
You could just-
these are contract terms.
You
There's-
just
there's-
ask them.
I can ask him, but I think there's an interest between having this agreement get signed so that you can move forward with the project versus, and that creates a lag if I have to go back and forth with him and then I have to wait until, again,
Well, our
it's
management
an
plan isn't
efficiency.
adopted yet, right? We haven't adopted our Peacock's management plan yet.
But this would start no matter what this year.
Because the
regardless of
funding is already.
The funding is,
for it.
Yeah, water
To be used
quality
now.
funding is, CPF 20 for opening and closing the inlet, and this is part of that project.
Yeah, no, I get it. We could be funded, but we don't, it's like we're still going to be using James for, to keep maintaining our baselines. We're still going to be
James.
making our decision off of his readings.
James, when you go, it's once a week, and it's an hour and a half, 2 hours? So it's not a significant It is 2 hours out of his, but it's
Depends on
not,
if I'm GPSing as well, which I'm still gonna have to be doing is GPSing when it's open, stuff like that.
so he's out
Yeah.
there anyway?
Right, I get it, it's just the whole thing was, it was supposed to, everyone's saying, well, Taylor, free up some
But remember, this
labor.
is transition.
No, I get it, I get it. I just want to make sure that we get the details right, because we're spending taxpayers, we're spending taxpayer money. We want to have a good result, so we want to make sure that we, we get this thing right. There's obviously some questions.
No, well, it sounds like one thing that hasn't been addressed is, say a unit requires being hauled out for repairs, and that may take a week or 2 weeks. How much downtime do we go without any monitoring? Is there a replacement unit that would be?
Your
We don't
backup.
want any spaces on our.
Right, we want a complete data set. I understand that,
Right, we
so.
want to maintain those lines.
Yeah, right in that, hey, James is homesick.
It's an important task.
Oh, I
right.
think we want to get it right the first time.
Yeah, we do. Exactly,
That's the important.
exactly.
That way we have a good template for renewing it
Yes,
at year 3.
yes.
Year 3.
All right, so
But,
I will
I mean,
bring the
moving-
board's feedback back to Mr. Wilson, and I will
Yeah.
see if he's available to come to perhaps the next work session.
Yep.
And move forward.
All right. What else?
Thank you, Mark.
So,
I don't know what that is either. Commercial agriculture mooring permit.
Okay.
You ready?
I have the information for the next 3 things.
You do?
Okay.
Yes.
Ah, that would make sense. You're like, where's this?
Okay, so, should be quick. Basically, the commercial aquaculture mooring permit fee waiver request is the Peconic Bay keeper, Sean O'Neill, has a commercial aquaculture mooring in Red Creek Pond in Hampton Bays and Scotts area. Traditionally, in the past, since it's a nonprofit, the board has waived the $250 annual fee. So I just wanted to bring it to you guys and see if you are still interested in waiving that fee again for them this year.
Is that an annual mooring?
Annual, yes. Commercial aquaculture is every single year. They supplied all their documentation, everything looks good. They included the not-for-profit, proof here. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention and see how you guys wanted to handle that.
Peconic Bay keeper.
And it does cover public benefit, education, and they do come into our meetings and, have conversations with the board about their concerns and problems. So I think it's one of those entities that we should, support, and I would be in favor of waiving the fee, but that's only one.
So would I.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Okay,
So maintain.
so should we draft a resolution for the next meeting for
Yeah,
this?
yes.
We could do that.
Okay, that's good. And then the next item is mooring in Cold Spring Pond. The applicant's name is Peggy Worm. I believe Cold Spring is your area, Bill. Basically, she renewed her application, but is having an issue with the insurance. She has requested that the trustees waive part of the insurance requirement. I believe that she got the $500,000 minimum liability insurance, but she says for some reason she's not able to get the trustees additionally insured as required in our application.
But everybody else has, right?
That's right.
So I would say we have to maintain consistency. If these other folks have been able to do that, then she may have to just change carriers.
Yeah, do paperworks.
Change
Okay.
carriers.
Yeah, I mean, you would be able to.
No, that's the answer to the question. Everyone else has been able to conform, and we have to maintain consistency in our policy.
Sure.
Yes.
Permit issuance standards, and she can direct her agent to get her a carrier that is in compliance.
Might just be a couple of phone calls for it.
It's her agent, not even her.
Sure, sure. She just asked that I bring it to the board, so I
That's fine,
wanted to
but-
do my due
We just need
diligence.
to maintain consistency in our standards.
Understood.
We're giving her directions.
I will reach out to her and let her know.
Okay.
Thank you. And then lastly, in the discussion portion, Bay Avenue Eastport Dock active duty applicant request. This is a guy this slip is in Ann's area, Eastport Dock, William P. Connolly. He had a slip there, it's slip number 20, and he is Unfortunately, he's not renewing his slip this year because he's going on deployment during the spring, summer of 2019. So he has asked that his non-renewal will not affect future consideration from you guys. Kind of sounds like to me he wants like a
come back.
waiver and
Yeah,
for
so
next year,
maybe just put
so,
this in his file,
okay.
and so when his name comes up, he has to go back on the wait list. We just can't.
There is no waiting list.
Or
No,
there's
we changed it, around, yeah, so if he,
There's a slip available.
so if there's slip available, of course, we're not gonna hold it
Yeah.
against him, we'll give him a slip.
Okay,
keep
so we're
it-
not gonna hold the slip for him?
No.
We're just gonna not hold this
No,
against him?
no, nothing's gonna be held
It's
against
not-
him.
no.
So if a waiting list does become established, though, he would have to go on it
Yeah.
during
He
this
would be,
season?
he would be number one.
This would be number one.
Yes.
He would be number one.
Okay, that's what I'll do.
Okay.
It's easy.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
I'll be back later.
Okay?
All right, so we're going to get into the applications for permits. Robert Latch, 13 Wells Lane, Hampton Bays, DKR Shores. Sullivan? Hey, Gina, how are you doing?
How are you?
How are you?
Terrific.
Gina Rigdon, DKR Shores, here to represent Robert Latch.
The applicant proposes to install two 6x6 untreated whalers and one untreated whaler constructed boat ramp as necessary, raising the height of the structure as part of the permit, granted under Richard Varela permit, GP 000019, as areas shall be disturbed during the project, to add to the course of stone to the tiered ramp area and establish a 10-foot non-turf buffer area. There is a ramp here now. It's a very low ramp, and it floods pretty regularly, from what I had a conversation with the applicant.
Yes, it floods regularly, so during the project, while Wilson's there, which is almost done, and I've been photographing it throughout the project, he kind of surgically did the return that was included within the Varela permit. But, you know, a little bit of reconstruction had to be addressed. We got to leave the piles that were existing, but the boat ramp got a little tore up, that's it. But it's our responsibility to leave it in good working order. And since we're there, Mr. Latch would like to raise the grade slightly so it stops from flooding, but yet still is accessible with kayaks, canoes, etc. He actually has a favorite story about a kid almost drowning across the creek, that if it weren't for that ramp, I would not be here right now.
Yeah, I was at the property. He's going to be establishing a non-turf buffer,
Through the whole bulkhead area?
Yes.
Yes.
and there was already an active permit for the site, correct?
Yes, that bulkhead was pre-existing.
Yep.
Yes, it's legal.
Right now, there's not a buffer around it.
No, he's got a small boardwalk that goes,
But he's going to be establishing a stone
correct,
buffer. on
right.
top of
There's
it, so-
one that goes all the way up to
Yep.
both the boat ramp area and the bulkheading area with the boardwalk. So he'll be establishing an extra 6 feet along the whole length and then 10 foot in front of the ramp.
You good?
Yes, sir.
So that's going to be all stones in the sort of steps
Yes.
down?
It's going to be I think it looks like it's going to be non-porous stones, right?
Yeah, there are larger stones. What happens, you know, they don't move.
So they don't
when the
wash out
tide
in the-
floods,
yeah.
exactly, so they
You
don't.
have to walk on.
Tough to walk on, but they're not walking on it regularly. But it's better than sand being up and taken every time the
Yeah.
tide comes up.
Well-
Right, and it won't be as slippery, correct, so.
I was just curious if there was anything that would help slow down the flow of water.
Nothing slows down the flow of water.
Well, he's
It
gonna
wants
put
to
a
flood,
10
it wants to flood.
Upland from the ramp, he's gonna put a 10-foot wide buffer
Oh,
with
yes.
stones. There's, right
So-
now, there's just lawn
You
there.
meant the other direction.
So he's gonna
Okay.
establish a 10-foot buffer upland of the ramp and then 6 feet all along the bulkhead and back of the, so, right
So
now, it's. not
Basically,
the-
it would catch the
yeah,
rain,
it's a-
water
the
runoff.
Project, when the project is done, it's gonna be a much better site as far as lack of runoff going
Yes.
into the bay.
100%
Okay.
is the answer, yes.
Yes.
So it basically forms like a French drain along the entire frontage, so it catches any
So-
harmful fertilizers, et cetera, et cetera.
So we're gonna move this ahead.
Do you want me to go back, or?
Now, I have Janice Serene, 5 Canal Way, Hampton Bays, DKR Shores.
This is a basic, typical R&R reconstruction, same height. I did plot, if you'll notice on the plans, they own that little right-of-way area on the end of the canal.
Yes.
So I just want to put beach grass there, because right now there's some vegetation, nothing exciting, but they're not really going to use it that much in that particular area.
Old Harbor Colony?
Old Harbor
Yes.
Colony, yes.
So it's right by that red barn.
Yep.
Scott,
Yep.
so people, kids come down there and,
know it.
it gets walked on a lot.
Yep.
And right now, look at the pictures.
Yeah, it's no
It's
good.
really unsafe. It's like a hazard.
Yeah, you gotta fix that.
And
Bad.
there's no buffer there, there's just grass right up to the.
Yeah, and
wall,
if there's a
so-
high elevation behind that boardwalk,
so, you
that's
know,
decimated.
Establishing the beach grass and the buffer, so it's really important. And it's pretty much all washed out there.
Yeah, it's really bad. So I wanted the stones along that high elevation area, so it provides that runoff buffer.
Yep.
Fine, You gonna need a ladder there?
We've been doing
No, he has a dock. There's a legal dock there.
There's a floating dock.
There's a float
that's-
and a ramp. It comes off the end of the canal.
The northerly end of the property is like an L, like, it's a kind of a
Right.
strange
It's
configuration.
weird, yeah, it's like they quit claimed at that end or something. I have no idea how it happened, but it's theirs.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
What do you have, one more with Ann?
Hassan.
Richard Hassan?
Hassan, yeah.
You want to do yours, Ann, now?
Sure.
Come back to one.
This, Gina was in a couple of weeks ago. The applicant proposes reconstructing in place a bulkhead that encloses a boat slip. And after our discussion, do you want to fill in the blanks?
Sure.
With your revisiting the site?
I did. I revisited the site at low tide. I took
Randy, we'll move on.
photographs of the elevations of the top of the bulkhead, the top of the returns, really, which is where the question was, whether or not we could do something alternative rather than replace the height that's there. And I discussed it also with the DEC as well, and they have no problem with it. So what I did was I revised the plans based on the median height and determined that it could be lowered substantially. So along the returns on either side, the east and the west, there's a low sill section with just a double seawall, no helical anchors. The existing dead bin system will be cut, left in place, so it doesn't cause disturbance to the adjacent intertidal marsh areas. And then the frontage section will be the same height, well, slightly higher because it's going to be straight this time, with a stone buffer.
Stone buffer?
Was it stone? No, I'm sorry, I did beach grass. You're absolutely right. I did beach grass there.
And is the work going to be done from land?
The landward
or
side,
from-
yes.
From the land?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of access there, plenty of room. And then we're only proposing the fill along the fronted section. There's no fill going in the intertidal areas. It will have hay bales and silt curtain to protect the vegetation as well.
Can you see this one? We discussed this previously.
Yeah.
Yes. We discussed it.
So I think I came up with the best option to protect the species, environmentally friendly, protect the integrity of the boat ramp, and appease all the agencies' concerns.
You're gonna be able to not disturb the wetlands that are on the landward side of the low sill bulkhead? Or are you gonna do that from the water? Put
No,
the
there's-
low sill bulkhead in?
No, they have machinery that I believe could
Vibrated in?
vibrate it in.
That's
They
the best way
vibrate
to-
it by hand. And then they actually drive the sheet piling in. Probably not jetted here, it'll probably be vibrated so it doesn't crack. And the guys actually do it by hand, so there's the least amount of disturbances possible.
If there
We'll
is
have it.
any disturbance, it can be,
Restored.
Yeah.
that should be
Obviously.
in the language then,
Yes.
maybe?
Yes.
Sure.
Restored to the natural, prior to the project.
Sure.
Because you have all pictures and everything of the
I do.
site, so we can reconstruct it as is.
All right, I'll add that to the application page description, okay? Like a vegetation restored as necessary to prior condition. No problem, I'll email it to you. That's it.
Great.
Good?
Thank you.
Yeah, so we can.
Thank you.
move that
Happy New
forward,
Year,
at least
everybody.
maybe.
Tomorrow, or?
I'll email it first thing in the morning to you, okay? Thanks.
All right, I have one more application. It's for 48 Newtown Road Corp., 48 Newtown Road, Hampton Bays. It's the agent's Hampton Watercraft and Marine. It's a renewal of a previously approved application, a permit. It's E-Dock at the Hampton Watercraft, 44 Newtown Road. Remove existing dock and pilings and replace with 6 foot by 98 foot, 588 square feet. First section, next section, 8 by 30 feet notched landing, 4 foot by 8 foot notched cubic foot, 208 feet. The next section is 6 foot by 40 foot end finger, 240 square feet. The next section of the project is a 6 foot by 37 end finger, 222 square feet, and then 5 2 foot by 30 foot fingers, 300 square feet. 2 3 foot by 35 foot fingers, 210 square feet. Total for 1,768 square feet of aluminum framed epi-deck plastic flotation docks secured in place with 20 Green Heart pilings and a 3 by 16 foot ramp, 48 square foot, and 100 cubic yards of material through incidental dredging throughout the project. We approved this last year, and they're asking for a renewal. Anybody wants to see the plans?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
So you're gonna advance it?
I'd like to advance it, yes. It's basically getting rid of all the CCA treated lumber, all the creosote pilings, and replacing it with all
Nice clean shop.
non-treated plastic floats, and it's a really good project.
Renew it.
I'd like to renew it.
Okay.
Okay, so we can advance that, please,
Advance it.
Brandy?
You done?
Thank you.
Yep.
You jump in. Okay, so I've got the first one here, Alan Reed Marsh Jr. 125 Dune Road in Quogue. Applicant is proposing to reconstruct the existing bulkhead and boardwalk in place, utilizing vinyl sheeting, 285 linear feet plus or minus bulkhead, including the returns proposed to be reconstructed in place, utilizing vinyl sheeting. Minimal fills proposed landward of the bulkhead. Less than 5 cubic yards is required. Existing boardwalk, 214 linear feet plus or minus. The boardwalk landward of the bulkhead is proposed to be reconstructed in place where depicted on the plans, and a 10-foot wide buffer area is proposed landward of the bulkhead. 3-foot wide boardwalk with a 4-foot wide access path. They're indicating in their plans that it's going to be in place, and they're also indicating the 10-foot wide buffer to be planted with beach grass, 12-inch on centers, no mowing and no fertilizations.
And there's no elevation in the bulkhead?
No, they're saying in
the height of
place,
the
right?
bulkhead.
He's indicating in place. He's indicating no elevation change, no change he's indicating. So it's, looks like it's fitting the Blue Book regulations at this point in time.
Yes.
Good? Thank you. Good with that?
Yep. Thanks,
I
Scott.
would say we should advance that.
Okay.
The next one is First Coastal. I see Mr. Billy Mack is here. So we'll get him up here.
Happy New Year, everybody.
So the one that we have for you, and then you can speak to, is Reuben Jeffrey, 37 Second Neck Lane in Quogue.
Billy Mack, First Coastal, for the applicant, Reuben Jeffrey. This is actually, this permit expired.
Okay.
So it's passed, we renewed it, and this is second expiration, so we're reapplying for the same exact configuration. They didn't have an opportunity to build it the first time, so we're starting all over with the same exact plan.
So 4 by 75, entirely of untreated wood, elevation of catwalk with open grate decking, 3 foot above grade ladder at the seaward end of the dock. No ramp or float is proposed,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
3 feet above grade?
That's what's indicated.
Yeah. I think that was a,
Blue Book compliant?
Yes, this is one that we approved.
So we have
before we
every-
were getting into the Army Corps
Right.
issues.
We have everything that we need here.
Yep.
So it's advanceable for sure.
Okay, all right.
all right, thank you.
All right? Thank you.
Enjoy.
How are we making out in Noyak?
Good, we're done.
Wordsmithing.
Yeah, have you been down there?
I'm going back down there.
Okay, good. Yeah, we finished at the end of the year with the dredging, and then we just finished distributing the sand to Claremont.
Okay.
So sand's got some drying out to do.
How much material do you think was removed?
We were able to get about 2,500 cubic yards. I
Okay.
mean, we went right up to the deadline with that.
Okay.
And that's what they had a budget for, so it actually worked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I think the navigation-wise and water quality is going to be spectacular now.
Okay.
Till you come around the corner, you try to get in or out.
Exactly. So when we can tackle that, that would be good. But
What do
that's
you-
the
the
county.
oh, that's-
Yeah, the entrance to the channel. It's a little
That's-
tight there. You got to do a zigzag.
Well, you
get
do
through.
know the history, what's going on there.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, if we could help, I'd be happy to help. But
Yeah.
we actually have the equipment right there, but
No, it's,
out of our.
the permit's being held up by the federal government because they want the material on the refuge, and they didn't take into account that they needed equipment to move
To
the
do that,
hose?
yeah.
To do that,
Exactly.
and there's no access to get it
I've
there.
got a place for that material, too. They're not
Yeah.
worried about where, equipment or anything.
No, they want to recreate nesting area for the
Yeah.
terror colony that's prevalent there.
Yeah, that's a tight entrance. It's real tight. But,
Yep,
you know.
all right.
Yeah, we cleaned up that area quite well.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, guys.
Set. Appreciate it. I have one more to go here. Gregory S. Little, this is a first renewal of a project that we approved last year. Nothing has changed. It's replacing a 4x55 fixed pier decking to be flow-through graded decking, 6x20 float attached to a 3x12 metal ramp, install 4 tropical hardwood piles, and a 10-foot by 13.67 boat lift, and the dock will be at a depth of no more than 30 inches, exactly the same as we approved, so
It's just a renewal.
it's just renewal, straight renewal, so I would say we just
Move it ahead?
move it ahead,
All right,
no differential.
sounds good.
That is all that I have.
She's your neighbor, so.
Martha, this application, I live in the same neighborhood, actually live across the street from this.
Okay.
If there's any problems,
Um,
I don't.
only if you feel like there's something that
No, I have no
would keep you from being impartial.
No, I'm impartial.
Okay.
We're good?
Owner is Victoria and C. Hewitt and Donald R. Hewitt. Owners are co-trust of Vicky C. Hewitt Living Trust. Address of the property is 27 West Neck Circle, North Sea. To remove and replace the same location, approximately 71 feet of existing bulkhead and to place up to 50 cubic yards of clean fill to be trucked in from an upland source over permitted property. Machines will be used to excavate scarce stair and a water pump. To proceed will be followed, remove existing bulkhead, set piles and whalers, install sheathing, install dead men through bolt seawall backfill and planted if required. Material be used, be 10 by 16 green heart space, 6 inches on center, sheathed with SG 4.5 times 10-inch vinyl, 2 6 by 6 green heart whalers, heart with a 2 by 6 top cap. Tie rods would be 3/4 by 12 rods with 8 by 6 dead men with a 2 feet by 2 feet cap dug for 5/8 bolts through all. 3/8 lag bolts will hold the sheet in place. Approximately 50 yard of clean fill. No dredging is proposed. Approximately 30 yards of fill be removed from landward side of the bulkhead and be stored on site and used for backfill. On this, I would like to have a buffer plant, exactly what they're gonna put in the buffer, where they're gonna be planted. And all the work has to be done to landward side of the bulkhead. Because there is a little marsh in front of it. You're familiar with that property, right?
There's a wetlands in front of
Yeah.
the bulkhead.
Yeah.
Are they going to jet the bulkhead in, or are they going to vibrate it in? Because jetting it in does cause a lot of,
When you want to have them vibrated, I have no,
I mean, it has the least amount of
okay.
disturbance, you
You
know,
can just say you want it vibrated in.
because if you're going to jet all of the pilings and all the bulkhead in, it's going to
Yeah, because you
ruin the
got
wetlands.
wetlands like right up in here, on that end.
Yeah, I mean, wherever the wetlands is prevalent, it should not be.
In a ladder. We're gonna hold this, Randy.
There is a wetlands fringe right here.
On the north end of the bulkhead.
Yeah. Is this a first replacement or a second replacement of the
I
bulkhead?
think it's
Bill?
first. It's pretty old.
Yeah, just curious.
They're not going up, they're using the same height.
So they're gonna remove it as what it is right now, and,
Yes.
yeah, if they could vibrate that and pound the pilings in, you're not gonna disturb anything here. Wanna look at it better?
No, I can't look it over your shoulder.
No, I think it's, you know, because we have made recommendations like that in the past.
So we-
The water comes was over there, over this pretty regularly on a high tide, storm tide.
So you want to have a good buffer behind it that's,
Not gonna get washed away.
that and,
That can flood, too.
yeah, that can,
That's- That'll live even though.
in a
it's
marine
floods.
environment, basically, yeah. Some kind of,
Do you have suggestions for that, or just let them?
Let them do it.
but give us a list of what they're going to plant there,
Yeah.
so we know.
Yeah, that's what I asked for. You got that? Yep. All right, I'm done.
I got one right here, Schronbeck, first renewal, 531, 545 Sagaponic Road, which is inner science, nothing's changed on it, the permit expired, just trying to renew it.
All right.
This is the one that's, just remind me.
This is a procedure, I don't think you've seen this one. Everybody gets the permits and nobody builds them, then they come in for a renewal.
Last week when the tide was really hard to work in my new house. We had to-
Yeah, it's good. Except for the fuel tank.
Separate from the bridge.
Yeah,
Okay,
completely separate.
Application.
that's what I wasn't sure
So
about.
we're gonna advance that one, Brandy, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, CTUC 5 LLC, Commercial Marina, 50 South Bay Avenue in Seaport, in Eastport. This significant project, of which this is a first renewal. My only question is, and I meant to take a look at this, they're replacing a great deal of bulkhead, like pretty much the whole way around. They're removing the wooden walkway that's been behind the bulkhead, but they didn't specify, as far as I can see, what they're going to do up to the bulkhead. What is usually done in a commercial situation? Because we don't do buffers. So what's usually,
They usually put a walkway or they need some type of a buffer. They usually put stones.
Stone, is this it here, section B you're talking about, Ann?
The-
Section B?
We
Yeah,
talked
they-
about this when they originally did this.
Yeah,
They did
Eric
the
would-
stones.
Yeah,
You
I
have to go
remember,
back- You might have to go back and look at the minutes.
there was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
This application took months to get approved.
Okay.
Because the east side of it, we had to measure to see if it didn't go out any further into the channel. The north end of it was right by our wetlands, and they were moving, you remember this?
was a
And-
long back and forth, yeah.
And then there
they
was
did
a,
a low sill bulkhead
yeah,
on
pier,
that section?
yeah, so there was a lot. So your question is section B.
No,
where the-
it's actually not just B, because C2 and,
So it's like stone or
The
sand.
green,
yep,
where the green is and the blue.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what was discussed.
So we
Permit
could-
calling for stone or sand?
Not sure.
we could
Section
ask
B,
about that, because
reconstructed-
What's the permit
Say it
say?
in there, or doesn't say it in the
Because
permit.
it should be in the permit, it should,
it only says, as far as I can see,
I'm like the.
that they're removing the walkway, but
Putting
in
stones.
the
not-
terms and conditions
This is eliminated.
of the permit itself, because it's a renewal.
Well,
So-
on this one thing right here, it
Because
says,
they're gonna have a float. This is, see this blue
Yeah.
thing, that's gonna float.
Yes.
This is gonna be
Permit itself
stones.
is a renewal,
Yes.
it's not a new application.
Yeah.
section B, additional applicant proposes to reconstruct, expand
It's probably
existing
stone or
concrete
sand.
pad.
Stone? You
15
want to take a look? Can
Yeah, I
you,
think it's stones, it says.
yeah, can you pass down there? Thank you.
Fixed and floating dock. I think the concrete pad was the wash area there. I don't,
it's the, where the travel lift is,
yeah.
it's significantly expanded, if it's 1,500 feet,
Yeah, on the low sill bulkhead, which is right here,
section D,
you have all the wetland plantings behind it.
right?
But as far as C,
C is, I think it's, because it's eliminated, I think it's supposed to be stones.
Which section are we talking about?
C,
C is the one that's right
yeah, they're
here.
putting a floating dock, if I remember correctly,
Okay.
and they're gonna put stones there.
I think it
Then we
needs
all
to
have
say that
look
then.
that-
Yes,
And this one is, I think it's gonna be a walkway behind it, small walkway or something.
And it needs to say it not only on the cover sheet, but also on the plans, because
Yeah.
on the plans.
Matt
it's-
Ivins had drawn these plans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've looked at the permit that was issued, and it seems to be silent on that matter for section C.
Right, that's what I thought, okay. I think pretty much
Place of
all
utilization.
of them.
Well, section C is described here in this general overview. Applicant proposes to reconstruct in-kind
Setback.
landward of the existing bulkhead 210 feet and eliminate the existing wood walk, which is 8
Because you're gonna
by
have the, you're gonna have
190
the floating
overall.
dock.
Addition, it is a floating dock, which is,
And he's gonna step this, I think this is all supposed to be eliminated.
that's
And-
A, you want C, Billy. C is the,
See's like the northernmost part.
yeah, the northern one.
That runs east-west.
I got it, yeah.
3 floating docks, 8 by 22, 5 by 110, and 8 by 25. So that's what's gonna go in here.
Yeah, that's
in
that
C.
blue right here. That's the
Yep.
float is the blue.
Yep,
That's why this is supposed to be all stones, if I remember correctly.
yep.
Okay, so we'll just require
So that's
that
what it-
stone be placed there? Is that enough in a marina setting? to
Well,
catch?
you have to be careful what you put.
The gravel, it's just gravel right here.
Yeah.
So it
Gravel's
goes-
okay.
Yeah, because
Great.
that's a
Gravel.
bulkhead.
So that would be
Stone.
what we need, stone or gravel.
That's okay.
Okay,
And that's
as long as
C,
there's something, because that
right,
helps.
gravel. And
Makes
You have
sense,
site
because
plan
They're
for-
probably driving on it to
site-
drive up to their boat.
you're gonna drive up, there's gonna be,
A lot of dust.
Right.
well, there's gonna be vehicles here too, so you
Right.
have to be careful what you put down in order to support them.
Yeah, and you might not want, are you allowed to park vehicles in the buffer?
No.
No, but this buffer here, there's no vehicles, it's just
Yeah.
right next to a wetland C.
So their plans that were approved already show that they're calling for gravel?
Yes.
Gravel. And, which is okay.
But that's,
Does it give the measurements, how wide the walkway's gonna be, to act like a buffer zone, how deep it's gonna be? They're gonna put anything underneath it to keep the weeds down?
Well, as far as the buffer zone for C, it's probably not even gonna be walked on because there's a floating dock
Right in front of it.
inside of it by the,
Yeah.
so that would be the access point for the boats and everything. The gravel's just
Because
gonna,
he's replacing most of the, all the way around with the floating docks so they get rid of the walkway.
Gravel's sufficient.
gravel's, what you need- well, you gotta remember, you're putting it over like a marsh too, so you're not gonna get the most perfect
No.
scenario as far as drainage, but it's gonna be better than having concrete.
No, the gravel's
Or wood.
And gravel will last during a storm, it won't wash out.
Okay,
Gravel's
so I
Till you
have
plow it
one,
up.
I have one more question. So in section A, there's grass right up to the bulkhead, just regular grass. When I went yesterday, what do,
Is that a new
What-
bulkhead?
no,
And he's gonna put a new bulkhead there?
no, that section's only, it's only the extension that's new.
So it's like pre-existence.
Okay,
Yeah, if and when they come in for that section of it, then we can,
That's one of the things we gotta change in the blue book, so it's there permanently.
okay. All right. So on the cover sheet then, if it could just say that stone needs to be, right?
yeah, I mean, it's on the
Because it's
plans.
Well, it's on the plans,
plans.
and the permit terms and conditions call for it to be on the plans, I think, in the second
correct.
page.
I mean, normally because this is a renewal, I would say the board shouldn't be imposing new conditions, but this is one that was shown on the plans that were approved. So, James, I would give the applicant a heads up and confirm that that's still what they end up wanting to do and that we're going to correct the error that we didn't have the gravel included.
So we
In
need
the-
a new cover sheet stating that the buffer, or that the gravel be placed.
For section C, we'll have
Yeah,
gravel.
It says in this, on the second page, that it has to be depicted on the plans, what's gonna be in the buffer zone. and
which
it
it
is
is.
on,
Which it
so
is.
it does comply with the permit.
Yeah.
It complies with the permit,
It
it
does comply.
complies in that respect, we just didn't have it in the permit work description.
The character of work on that.
Right, but it is on the plans.
Okay.
So yes, an updated cover sheet.
Still need changed.
It would be good to clarify, but it is all compliant, it is fine.
That way the applicant also understands that it's shown on their plans and we're going to have it be part of the permitted description of work.
Yep, that way when the Bay Constable does the final inspection, he just picks up the cover sheet and looks and it's all right there.
So we're gonna advance that.
Advance that with just the update to the cover sheet. Okay, so this one is also renewal, Barry and Joyce Cohen, 50 Shepherd Street, Queog. It is replace bulkhead in place in kind, including a low sill bulkhead with maintenance dredging that will be placed in a section of a boat slip. Any disturbance to the marsh will be revegetated and all work to be done upland.
So it's in place and kind, what kind of material is it now?
In place and in kind.
What material is there now?
Broken down wood.
So they mean in place, but of
So they,
compliant kind, right?
Well, it's usually in place and then the material is spec'd out.
Right.
What's in place and in kind, basically, you're replacing it with what is exactly there now.
Right.
What's shown on the plans? Is it vinyl sheathing on plans, or is it wood?
What's it say?
working. Existing bulkhead to be replaced. Dredge spoil material to fill area.
Showing sea lock or shore guard or something, or?
Plastic sheets, wow.
But there's not plastic sheets there now, right?
No.
No.
There's new plans there.
You're probably just an oversight.
Did these plans?
Interscience.
Probably just meant to say in place, but with compliant material.
You just have to have enough fix it.
Yeah, there's really no
Down here,
description of,
yeah, down here is the same as
This
they're
is
using.
what's there now.
No, yeah, so they're not gonna redo that, they're gonna do it with plastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a replacement in place.
In place, but not in kind,
Yeah,
so
you
they
just
need
have
to,
to have them to fix the wood. It's no big
Okay.
deal.
in
So
place
just
with
say what's going to be in
plastic sheathing, or
I mean,
whatever.
it says it down here, but I should say it on the,
So again, it says it on the plans, but not on the cover sheet.
Yeah, if they should just have got, if they didn't put the in kind, that's where the confusion comes in, right?
yeah.
Okay.
well, plastic sheet pilings on it. That should be different wordage.
Yeah.
It's kind of like not clear,
It's not clear, they should clear that up.
Guy went to lunch and never came back.
you know. It should be sheets.
I like to do that some days, too.
Let's hold that one then. We'll get it.
Okay,
Just, I would just ask him to correct the wording on it.
okay.
You don't understand what he means.
Okay, thank you. And one more. Car, 272 Royal Avenue in Flanders. Replace failing wood bulkhead to prevent erosion and siltation and maintain canal integrity. So wooden bulkhead there now. So dismantle the old bulkhead, replace it with 82 feet of vinyl C-lock sheet pile. Wood piles, equally spaced wood whalers. New bulkhead will be 5 inches higher to match adjacent bulkhead to the north. Anchored by 16-foot steel rod tieback, greenwood deadmen. New bulkhead remains at location of existing bulkhead. Excavate and replace 263 cubic yards of soils to accommodate bulkhead removal and replacement. There's a step down there that's going to be filled and filled with 2.7 cubic yards of clean sand. Construct 6x4 cantilevered wood landing a 12 by 3 ramp, and a 20 by 4 floating dock. 10-foot wide, no lawn buffer adjacent to and landward of the bulkhead to include 4-foot wide walkway and 6-foot wide gravel and/or native vegetated area. So this is replacing, it's my understanding that there have been many bulkheads on this canal that have already been replaced. And this is towards the end of the last of the bulkheads that are being replaced.
Pretty much keep all the height the same.
5 inches.
5 inches to match the nail.
It's matching the bulkhead to the
It's Blue Book
north.
compliant, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's Blue Book compliant,
Just might want to.
Sounds okay.
Buffer, no fertilizer. You said no lawn. There's nothing saying about no fertilizer.
Okay. Okay, so if we could just ask for no fertilizer.
that's got to be, that's our standard, that's our
our
standard
standard,
permit
yes,
language.
yeah.
Says
Right,
that.
but it's not in there, though.
But it's in the terms and conditions of our standard permit, it's going to be in
This,
there.
this guy who, I don't think this is a regular
He's not a regular agent?
agent, I don't think.
It's in our standard permit terms, though, right, on page 2.
I don't really-
Says no fertilizer.
I don't recognize this name.
This is-
Is there a letter saying, usually there's a permission letter in there representing that person.
Representing the homeowner.
Put it in the
He's-
permit, special condition on,
Yeah, that condition goes on every permit.
goes on every permit.
For that buffer.
Yeah, so that's
Are
standard.
they being charged for the dredging? Because it's a private man-made canal, and they shouldn't be charged.
Should be no cubic yards dredge charge. So that's the office will take care of that when they calculate the fees.
Yep.
They'll calculate that.
Yeah.
Okay, they calculate the amount, 13, great.
If we charge them,
I'm sorry, what did you ask? If there was like an agent letter, like a authorizing?
Save a dollar.
I think it's okay.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
So authorizing Mr. Rubin to act on behalf of
Yeah.
Mr. Carr.
Blue Book compliant.
I think that's fine.
That's good. Yeah, advance it.
Okay, so we could advance that, please.
That's it.
We have a gentleman in the audience.
We also have,
Mr. Rodigan, are you here to discuss 33C Club Lane?
Is that what this is?
You don't want to knock out Jessica first?
Yeah, Jessica has her duck blind.
I know.
Can you just take care of this gentleman?
How are you?
Good.
Listen, I am profoundly deaf, so I'm going to put a microphone on your desk right there so I
Okay.
can hear what's going on.
Okay.
All right? And we'll see. Yeah, I represent the property owner of 33C Club Lane.
Yep.
We made application in 2017. The trustees were extremely quick in giving us the okay for the project. Unbeknownst to me, it was your renewal policy. With conservation, it's a 3-year term. It took so long to get through DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers, which we still don't have their permit. This kind of slipped by me, and it's my fault. I, don't want to apologize, but somewhat naive about doing work with the trustees, haven't done an application in about 12 years, gave up environmental permitting a long time ago because as you know, there's 4 or 5 different agencies that are in review of everything, and it's been nothing but headaches since day one, especially with the Army Corps. They're uncooperative, they keep giving excuse, they don't return phone calls. That's the only permit that we're still in need of. We have DOC, we have DOS, we have DEC, we have Conservation, we had trustees. And all I'm doing is making an appeal that you would allow me to renew the application. The scope of the work has not changed. Nothing about the application has changed.
How late is it past the renewal? When is the renewal date? It expired 2017?
Well, my understanding is it expired in 2010, It's, I was just given notice about 3 months ago. 5/17/2018.
So it's after 3 months, so the standard is,
Well, the standard here is in the Blue Book, and under the standard, you have within 3 months of the expiration date to apply for a renewal. After that, the Blue Book itself is silent, but the general policy has been, once you're past 3 months of your expiration date, you
Yes.
submit it as a new application.
Yes,
we just did one of those.
which,
We just did that.
yes,
For
Reuben
Reuben
Jeffries.
Jeffries, so you'd have to submit a new application.
You would have,
Say it to me again, I'm going to
Need to
read you.
submit a new application as per our regulation.
Okay.
Submit a new application. You have all the paperwork together that you initially applied for?
We've got everything together.
That's what you need to do.
So there's no, the board takes a position, there's no appeal with
No,
regards to...
3 months, we changed our policy about 4 years ago to accommodate what you are talking about.
Right.
Where we allow 4 additional renewals cycles, but you have to pay that renewal fee.
Okay.
You have to do that either before the expiration or within 3 months after the expiration. That's what we did to take into consideration what you have going on.
Right.
But since you're past the 3 months, in order to maintain consistency with our policy, you need to complete that renewal application, take all the paperwork that you initially submitted and refile it for us to
So
do
what
what we
you're,
did basically for Mr. Reuben Jeffrey here.
Yes, correct.
Same exact procedure that we did for the folks.
okay, and the reason that I cannot appeal to some relief is because that's policy?
That's
law.
that's the law.
Pardon?
That's the law.
That's the law under,
you had
Trustees.
3 months to renew after it expired, and
Okay.
it's now beyond that period.
okay.
We have done 5 renewals that fall in less than the 3 months, so we renewed them. There was one gentleman, Reuben Jeffries, who was longer than that, and they had to submit a brand-new application before the board. The original application, but
Right.
We just
but
did
it's a new permit.
Okay, I might hold off until I get the approval from the,
That's your prerogative. You just don't
do-
start it until you get a
You do
permit
have 1 year
I
on
can-
that, and then 4 years
after that.
individual 1-year renewals.
Okay.
So that we tried to remedy the situation
right,
that
we
you were
had that
falling under.
conversation, you
Yes.
and I had last
Yes.
week. Okay.
Yep.
All right, I just thought I'd write a letter to the board and see if there was
Yep.
some way you'd change your mind about that, but
No, this
The
is
law, we
it
can't.
appears
Yeah.
that
Yes.
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, we can't do it.
All right. Appreciate you letting me have audience
If
with
you
you.
have any need for help or anything, you can contact James Duryea, he's our environmental analyst.
Okay.
And you can stop by our office and get the applications and everything to
Yeah, I've-
to start the
got it.
process.
I have
Okay?
means to do that.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
Yep.
All right, Nan, it's good seeing you.
Take care.
Mr. Edigan.
Hello again. All right. So, okay. We have 4 waterfowl permits on. First one is Bruce's. James Wilson, permit number 125. This is going to be an approved individual from the wait list. This is going to be a spot in Mecox Bay. And it was approved by the Bay Constables. He submitted his application, has all of the documentation, and has been vetted with the Bay Constables.
I'd like to advance it.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, Gregory Liffin. I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, Anne. This is your area. He is having some issues with access, so he's been in touch with the Bay Constables. So last I heard today, earlier, Rich is going to reach out to him and then update the board on that at a later date.
Is this
So
Where's this one?
this is spot, it's permit number 4, and this is in Moriches Bay.
Okay, I'm thinking of another one. Would be in your area? Guy's been having trouble for a long time.
Yeah, this is one that's from the wait list. I don't know the details just because I don't know the technical stuff in regards to the access. All I know is that Rich is in touch with the applicant and he's gonna let us know how to proceed. So he advised to hold.
I think
Yeah.
it should be very clear, when we do issue a duck blind permit, that it's up to the permittee to get the access. It's not for the trustees to afford access through property or, it's
Yeah.
really important. And if these duck blinds become problematic where they're surrounded by private property, maybe we should revisit them and take them off the list, because moving forward, I
Because
don't
that one,
want
he might be able to, only can go by boat.
That's
Correct.
what I was going to
Right,
ask.
so he's going to have to
Do
facilitate.
you have a map?
Yes.
Where is that in Mauritius?
Sure.
Let's just take a look, quick look.
Yeah.
It's about 1,500 feet west of Little Pikes
So
Beach.
you know where it is?
Yes,
Because, so he has to come by boat, that's the only thing, right?
yeah, yes. There is a right-of-way that the Suffolk County Water Authority has up
So
there.
you can't use that.
But, it's up to him to find the access to the water spot.
So meantime, we're gonna hold it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we have to tell him that the only way to get there is by boat?
He should,
He should know that.
could
he
make a deal
should
with somebody
figure
on
this
that
out. I think he's gonna have a conversation
Yeah.
with Rich Franks. It was Mr. Bennett's spot previously, and he did
By
have
boat.
boats, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's a privilege to have a duck blind, and like Ed said, we're not gonna walk the guy to his blind. He has to figure out how to get there
yeah,
and take care of the spot.
Legally.
yes,
Legally.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Not, that goes to the next person.
yes. So when I hear back from Rich, I will definitely relay this information to the board. Okay. The next one is Christopher Ott. This is spot number 24, another one from the wait list. This is in Mauritius Bay. It's been vetted by the Bay Constables, and everything seems to be in compliance.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
do
He
you
has
want
no
to see
trouble
these,
with
Ann?
access.
Here, I'm going to pass this to you.
What did you say, Bill?
He has no trouble with access.
No trouble with access for that one.
Should we advance that one?
I'm going to see what Ann
I
said.
think Ann wants to take a look at it.
He's that one. This way to the cold.
Harvard Street.
With the guy fought with the other guy.
Okay.
So he has a duck boat, so that's why he doesn't have trouble with access.
Yeah.
Right?
He puts it on the trailer and trailers it to his
Okay.
launching ramp, launches it in the bay, and goes out hunting and back to his trailer and brings it home.
Puts it back in the garage.
Okay.
Typically, in my experience at least, the people from the wait list usually do a boat the first year and then like switch to a blind is what I've noticed. Like later on because it's too,
Because they have a
soon to
duck boat
build it,
probably.
yeah.
They have a duck boat already.
yeah,
And the blind's expensive.
that's kind of what I've noticed.
And it's difficult moving and taken care of. There's a lot of work on duck hunting and maintaining blinds.
Yeah. And lastly, we have Jesse J. Fritz, permit number 25, once again approved from the wait list, and once again Mauritius Bay. Vetted by the Bay Constables, everything is in compliance. Just gonna show this to Ann.
I don't know where that one.
Well, Ann's looking at it, Jess, I just want to say thank you for doing a great job on
Oh, no
on the
problem.
planners.
My pleasure.
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
Yes,
There's no
absolutely.
excuse for us not to be organized.
If
Exactly.
there's any other information that I can get for you guys to put in there, just feel free to reach out and let me know.
You do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
So looking forward to 2019 so I can get my new planner.
Yeah,
You have
absolutely.
the list of the dates of the meetings?
I do. The only thing that's not in there that was in there last year is
you write
like
it
a
on the
confidential
table?
phone list of all the elected officials. I wasn't able to get an updated version of that yet, but when I do, I will be sure to circulate it to you guys.
Super, thank
You
you.
don't trust us.
This is also duck boat,
Okay.
so no access. Challenges. Yes, please.
Alrighty. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica,
Jess.
for your hard work.
And this is from earlier, Scott. I just want to give this to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm
Oh,
going
you're
to have a
welcome.
discussion with our,
Get a plan.
I got something else for you. It's more work right here.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Thank you, Jess.
You're welcome.
Anybody got anything?
Yeah, I got a question.
We got a question over there.
Being down at Townsend's Point the other day, I noticed Josh didn't get his boat out again. I guess he removed it this Saturday, the mooring's still sitting there, now the boat's docked at the Townsend's Point Marina. And what I picked up on, there was a mention by the Bay Council, but he couldn't move it to the dock without insurance. And isn't it under our requirement that he has to have insurance on that boat? That's tied to that mooring, which is tied to our bottom?
It was to name the parks in town as additionally insured in order to tie the boat up for the winter.
So he did have active insurance on it?
Yes, as far as I know, yes.
It just took an extra month to get out of the water?
Well, he was in the transition period, and he had to clear it with the Parks Department, which there were a few phone calls back and forth, changing the insurance. I did have a conversation with Al the other day about it, and it was going to be moved this past weekend to the park facility.
But everybody else follows the Blue Book. He does not. Every year, it's the same thing.
Well, I mean, the only reason I even know the boat was there, because I went down to Conscience Point to meet with Ann Reisman about the project down there, and that's when I called the Bay Constable and asked him to please notify Josh, because I knew he was in the process of getting all the paperwork to the park so he could move it out. But the moorings should definitely be out before the ice, and that's why we have chosen December 1st.
There's one large mooring that Richie says they can't pull out. It's over 1,000 pounds, maybe.
I don't know anything about that.
I think that was the Eames check. I think he had a bunch more out there.
Yeah, but you can't leave them in there because someone's going to run a boat on these
yeah.
things.
Whose is this, 1,000-pound mooring?
I think it was Eames, but I'm not quite sure.
Well, we should make sure, and we should,
Is that a number? I'll call Al tomorrow if there's a number on that.
yeah, I mean,
gotta go.
it should be moved out of there, because what's going to happen is the ice will rip the chain off, and then the anchor will be,
Sticking out.
and it's very dangerous.
So then it's got to go.
Yes. That's the reason we usually don't allow these anchors to stay in all winter long.
Okay.
Well, the mooring itself and the boat's supposed to be out by the first week in December, right?
Well, I know I had a conversation with Kristen to get it moving early, and then I wasn't down there to see if it had been moved.
He's the guy running the boat. It's up to him to facilitate it.
Well, I tried to help things along a little bit, but
Okay, so who's going to, this 1,000-pound mooring?
I'll call Al.
we're gonna have to find out
gonna
if
do this?
it's actually,
Yeah, I'll
yes,
find out.
Bill?
we will find
'Cause
out.
it's got to, that's a
So I want to
situation.
have to get him an update on the pump out boat with the A-frame on it.
Are we gonna have to bring that boat up there for them to mount the A-frame on
It's
it?
up there.
It's up there already?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know when it's gonna get mounted and everything, or?
That's what I find out. Al told the guy he's no big rush. I said, you never say that.
No, I want to make sure that if we need something in the springtime, or,
Yeah. Well, you could use it for them taking that 1,000, you could use it for taking the moorings out.
I'd be very careful pulling 1,000
I don't
pounds.
think-
Well, other, the little moorings, you
Yeah,
know.
so I don't think it's going to handle that 1,000-pound.
No.
No, but it can take.
Well, the
little-
barge won't handle 1,000 pound.
That's something you need a commercial.
You need a bigger machine for that. We
Yeah.
can't handle that. That's why.
You gotta
every-
pump it. You gotta pump the mud out away from it and lift it up.
Yeah, you got to separate it from the bottom before.
It's just too bad we didn't know about it a month ago when Wilson was over in Noyak.
Yeah, this is the first I
But
heard
it's,
of it.
yeah, but it's who's ever put it in's responsibility.
Yes.
Correct, otherwise you impound it.
So regardless, he's going to have to pay the mobilization charges. But
Yes.
but then when you say impounded, I mean, that's, a bit more difficult with 1,000 pounds to move around, right?
Yeah. It's problematic, that's what we.
It is problematic.
We don't use-
Either way, it's got us in a bad situation.
Yeah, well, we'll find
Wait a-
out who it belongs to.
Where do we stand with the walkways?
As far as the elevated catwalks, and have we sent everything off to?
You guys have to approve the regulation.
Well,
All right.
we have to approve the regulation, and they're on government shutdown anyway, so they're not going nowhere right now.
I'll send it as soon as you guys approve and the
So-
resolution gets adopted. I'll
So,
send it to-
at Monday's meeting, we should have the resolution on for adoption by the board.
I don't know the exact date that you guys put it on.
The resolution's
For
been
Monday?
prepared, we tabled it, so we can,
Right, but I don't know which, when you table, I don't have that written down right now.
there was a notice of adoption that I had prepared for the close of the public hearing, and then the trustees voted to table it until a further date, so it's still a minute track, I can just
So we'll
Go
have
in
it on
and-
for Monday then.
set it for Monday's
Yeah, that'll
meeting.
be good, then we can.
You guys did want to add the language that says that potentially if you guys feel necessary that it could be raised higher, right? You wanted to add that after.
That's actually already,
Is it in there already?
that's already in there. Let me just look at what section
Or
is.
lowered, we tried to make it,
Site-specific.
yeah.
There is a site specific, it requires a majority plus in the
Majority of
trustees.
the trustees.
They can
But
make,
it's still in the new regulation, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
It was in the old one and it stays in the new one as well.
I think we're good. right? Anybody else, anything else?
We're good? All right. Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second, all in favor? Aye.